Father, we come in your name again. We thank you for another day's journey. We thank you for all your blessings. And thank you for how you brought us, kept us, how you watched over and protected us and brought us to this day. We pray that you bless our chairman, our new vice, and the rest of the commission. We need you. Father, we need your understanding, your wisdom, and knowledge. We thank you for things as well as they are. We could have been in a bad situation. God, you saw fit that we would be here today and take care of our county business. Now today, Father, we pray that you be with us. Watch over us. Guide our feet, tongue, heart, mind, and our soul. And bless us with the blessings and lead us. Father, we ask these and all blessings. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item number 3 is approval of the minutes for our November 2nd, 2021 regular board meeting. Do we have any questions or do I have a motion to approve?
Call for a motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stapleton, second by Commissioner Lamb. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I see Commissioner Taylor got his motion in quick. He
Hadn't done that in a while.
We're going to move on to the consent agenda. We're going to pull item number 4 for further discussion. Is there any others? So we're going to go with items 2 and 3 and 5 through 16. Do I have any questions or a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lynn, second by Commissioner Hale. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Commissioner, item number 4. Mr. Stapleton.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Greg Scott to come up. I know there's been some questions and concerns with the public, and I'd just like to clarify any concerns that they have and kind of how we got where we're at with this.
Good deal. Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate you being here. You're doing well so far, Chairman.
Thank you.
You're doing good. Just wanted to do some clarification on the grants. As you're aware, the airport has a airport layout plan which we followed in the grants funding from DOT and FAA. It's not on the ALP, but they get done. As you recall, back in budget workshops, we asked for a hangar and some funding, and we did not. There's no wish list that we get funded. That's fine. This is a separate grant. This is for a set of box hangers, with 3 box hangers on the road on one building. We're allowed to be about $1,000 a month, but this is fully funded by DOT. It's a 2-phase project. We'll come back around in July or so and do another one of these to approve, hopefully, that for the whole amount of funding to build that other hangar. Currently, we have 5 corporate hangars, people on the waiting list. The corporate hangars are people who want to come put businesses here or fly jets or bigger planes and buy more fuel from us. The airport is self-sustaining with the help of our leases. So it's a money revenue producer for us down the road. Again, it's 100% money from DOT fully funded. And Carrie Crane, Bill's wife, is here. She brought him with her too. If you have any questions for Bill, Bill Pranger, who saw that, is here also.
Thank you, Mr.
Chairman, so Scott, so this is federally funded?
This is state funded, right? And again, just again for the public, aviation dollars is different than road dollars. Aviation dollars cannot be used on the highways.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, go ahead, sir. Kind of put me on the spot here. I by no means saying I don't appreciate this grant, because I do. Are there any others that we have coming? Because I know there are people on the waiting list for these things, and I get calls all the time about it. I know you guys work on these things. I'm not saying you don't.
It's in the cycle. There'll be funding for this one. I don't have a machine in front of me, but there are grants every year that we get from DOT for different improvements. The next larger one will be on taxiway renovations and realignment of the what do they call it? Taxiways. But that's about $3 million project from the FAA funding.
So, just to follow up, one of my other questions is going to be about extending the runway. I mean, we've had some talks. Me and Mr. Norris actually met some folks on Saturday, and that was one of their top 5 questions is how big is the landing strip? Because they have
The runway now is just over 4,000 feet. Expansion are years out. It's not in the 5-year plan currently. If you want to write a check, we certainly would do that.
I'll wait on this funding here. Yeah.
But that's one of those, we have to prove to DOT and FAA that there's a need. We're locking into that now. Now we have jet service fuel, jet day fuel. The numbers are rolling in. We're having to restock the tank about every month now, which is, the first 6 months was slow. Now it started picking up, and now people like coming in, getting in and getting out. That's turbines and jets. A lot of the larger corporate jets may not be able to, because of the insurance regulations, be able to land a 4,000-foot runway, but a lot of them do still.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, I have one more. It's not a question, it's a comment, and maybe it is a question. How many people, the little larger jets that are coming in, how many people do they help carry?
6, 8, 10.
6, 8, 10. I say this because my comment is, I be out in my grandboys, and they can hit those airplanes, and some of them have some peculiar sounds. Now I tell them, I'm not going to get on any more planes right now, but and I wanted to bring them out to the airport when they had the smaller plane, but Granddad is afraid of planes now. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I could do it. And I can't take them out there because I knew they were going to ride.
We got just the thing for you. The Howard parachute guys are alive and well. And they would love to show you, teach you, and show you how to do that. And then if the engine stopped, you just glide to the ground.
I saw a couple of them Saturday morning.
That's the flying this past week.
Mr. Scott, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Mr. Scott, for public knowledge, you said this was a 2-year project, right? Second year's funding will be completed this year, or there'll be like a phase 2?
It'll all be done at one time. Usually the design comes first. That's how the bill gets paid. Local resident, taxpayer, bill frame. And then there's design to construction. The grants for design and construction. So if there's any money left over from the design, it goes into the construction piece.
So roughly a 24-month project will have a new thing.
Probably. It takes long. And now, when I say next year, July 1st is DOT's first year. So it takes a lot longer to build anything than we like.
Any other comments?
I'll get one more.
Okay, Bill? Anything else?
Yeah, well, and I'll ask him, and maybe this falls into his well, where are we, and again, I'm just asking because as working with Jimmy Norris on the economic side of things and the folks we meet with, I mean, every one of them asks about our airport. That's like the number 1, 2, or 3 questions. It's almost like it's a gateway to our community as part of it. Where are we in y'all's opinion in terms of, are we ahead of the curve? Are we behind the curve? I mean, obviously we got people on the waiting list for hangars and such, but I mean, like maybe extending that runway. That's the biggest thing I see is extending that runway. I hear a lot of that too.
Extended runway is a big part of it, but it's, like you look at other airports, they're a larger footprint. We're limited on what we can do without expanding the footprint. It's one issue. It's not just in the runway, it's way out yonder. That tree that keeps you from coming in. But we've had in the past several years an evolution of the airport. More professional staffing, not me, but other folks coming on board and moving us forward. Obviously, what Bill's company does a tremendous job for us to help us get that funding, and designs are good. But just the attitude of people coming in, they like coming to the Suwannee County Airport because of what they see, the experiences they receive, and even if there's a hiccup, they want to come back because of whatever service they provide for them. They got a great team out there that do an awesome job. But
And it's funny you say that. I actually was at one of the local restaurants several weeks back, and the people sitting next to me were from out of town, and I just started a conversation, but they actually had flown in from somewhere, landed here, and was out there eating.
I used to curse the car to get out.
They did.
All about economics.
Yes.
We want every penny
Pretty
to
amazing.
move.
It's amazing. Thank you.
I'll let Bill speak.
Thank you.
If I just clarify two things. The question about multi-year funding, that's dictated by the FDOT. A project of this size, for an airport of our size, they typically don't have that much money available in a single year. So we time these grants so that we can start design after the first of the year. We'll finish the design in probably May or June. And then the second half of the funding will come in August of next year, which is into the DOT's next fiscal year. We'll be ready for construction in, say, September or October. Who knows how long it takes to construct a hangar these days? Steel is a commodity that's in high demand and low supply. Will we still be in that boat 9 months from now? I don't know the answer to that. But in the last 18 months, prices for steel buildings, metal buildings like this have just about doubled. So we may have to ask the DOT for more money when we get to next year for bidding. They're aware of that. But that's why the funding's in 2 years. It does help balance the project load so we can do design and then construction in 2 separate phases. But the county did not dictate the multi-year funding. That was the state's requirement. In terms of the runway extension, one of the things that happens over the life of aviation funding from the FAA is certain topics will ebb and flow in terms of their importance. One of the most important topics right now for the FAA is pavement preservation. The airport's pavement is inspected every 3 years by the state, and there's a condition rating that's assigned with that. If you get below a condition 70 out of 100, 100 is perfect pavement. Below 50 is failed pavement. When you get to 70, you have to present a plan to show how you're going to preserve that pavement. Mill and overlay, reconstruction, something like that. That's a really important project to the FAA now, and important means that's where they want to place the money. Runway extensions at general aviation airports are at the bottom of the list right now. They're not important to the federal government, so they're not important for funding. It ranks very low, and there's never enough money at the end of all of the pavement preservation, safety projects, security projects, all of the other higher ranking projects get funding before a runway extension comes. You asked earlier about where are we. I provide this type of service for 8 different airports in the state, here, Central Florida and South Florida. I would say for your type of airport, you're right in the slot. In fact, in the last few years, you've added us, as Greg mentioned, more professional staffing, greater level of training for that staff, a greater level of customer service. You've added amenities like jet fuel, a courtesy car. Greg's staff does a great job of maintaining the facility. There's never a light or a sign or a blade of grass that's out of place. So pilots can come there and know that there's reliable equipment. If they need a nav aid, it's going to be in good working order. So if they get here and want to land, they don't have to divert and go somewhere else. Runway length is a restrictor. You might be surprised, there's plenty of business jets that can operate on 4,000 feet. In fact, manufacturers are getting a little more wise about sizing the type of jets so that they don't always need 5,000 feet or more. You've had jets in here in the last 2 months that have used the airport, bought fuel, brought performers to the music park, etc. Most of those jets, business jets, can land on 4,000 feet. Greg mentioned insurance requirements, depending the type of corporate operation they are. There's usually 5,000 feet is the threshold. That's an insurance criteria. You're not going to get around that. But somebody who has different insurance or is willing to take on some of the insurance risks themselves, All they have to do to land on 4,000 feet is take what we call a weight penalty. So when they leave, they maybe leave with 75% of the fuel load, not a full fuel load. For the pilot, that limits their stage length. They can maybe only go from here to Memphis, not all the way to Chicago on one stop. So for Southeast regional jet activity, it's probably no factor at all. And I would encourage you guys, Jimmy and others, make 4,000 feet sound as long as you possibly can, with minimizing the impact that a weight restriction might have. So there's also other jets that are being manufactured, light jets, very light jets. That 4,000 feet is plenty. They only need 3,500 to operate.
Can I get your name and address for the record?
Yes, I'm Bill Crane. I am a local resident. I'm here representing AECOM tonight. I live at 9421 71st Drive, Live Oak address, but it's pretty near Wellborn if you're going that way. Out of the Mount Olive area.
Mr. Crane, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
Mr. Crane, so we're currently at 4,000 feet.
Yes, 4,005 feet. Don't ask me where the 5 came from.
Mr. Chairman, I just like to say, I appreciate that information, and I definitely would like to give it to Norris. Maybe that's something we need to put in some of our packets that we send out, just as informational purposes. I appreciate that.
Amenities growth has really been, probably in the last couple of years, amenities and hangar growth. A lot of people, this is a common case for Florida general aviation airports. People want to come from other states that have more restrictions and are less business friendly, and they want to base their airplanes here, base part of their business here. So, we're in terms of how much utilization does the airport have, there's different metrics for measuring that. Your throughput of fuel is one of those metrics. Greg says that's growing. Your hangar occupancy is near 100%. There's only one hangar that's not occupied. And it's not for want of being occupied, it's just resolving a legal matter before that can be occupied. And I believe Greg's right, if you had 2 or 3 more hangar buildings, you'd have 10 or 20 more aircraft here in the next month. So,
Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public wishing to comment on this item? Seeing none, do you have any more questions or a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hale, second by Commissioner Lynn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, we're going to move along to item number 17, time specific at 5:05 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be heard. Hold a public hearing to consider adoption of a resolution pertaining to special permit temporary use request number SPTU-21-10-01 by American Promotional Events, DBA TNT Fireworks. Mr. Meeks. This time I open the public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Pravat.
All right, thank you. If anybody here thinks that they may speak on the issue tonight, would you stand to be sworn? Okay, anybody other than staff? Okay? Please raise your right hand. Do each of you swear or affirm the testimony you give before the board this evening will be true, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. Ma'am, and if you do approach, please state your name and address clearly for the record.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, board members, probably familiar with the request from TNT Fireworks to do a 4th of July event and as well as a New Year's event. This would be a temporary use permit for the New Year's. Time frame they have for their special permit for temporary use would be December the 26th of 2021 through January 1st of 2022. Location and everything of their tent is located in the Walmart parking lot. Everything's consistent with years past applications. We've never had any complaints or issues with them in the fashion that they leave the premises or their setup. They require a permit through Tim White, Fire Marshal, before they can open up anyway. So he will do a pre-inspection when they get set up for that as well. So you have a proposed resolution for their temporary use permit approval. you have any questions of me, I'll answer it. At this time, I'll hand the file to the rep.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Deeks. I'll take the file as composite exhibit number 1.
Are there any questions?
No, sir.
I'll now open the floor to public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Not, I'll close the public comment. Do we have a motion to adopt the resolution?
Motion approved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fleming, second by Commissioner Stapleton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. I'll close the public hearing on that item. At 5:05, should I open the public hearing? I'll need to open the public hearing at 5:05 or soon thereafter, if the matter can be heard over public hearing, to consider adoption of a resolution pertaining to special permit, temporary permit use request SBTU-21-10-02 by Harriet Wells and Curtis Jeffrey Humphreys to be granted a special permit for a temporary use under section 14.10 of Suwannee County. Mr. Nichols.
Mr. Chairman, board members, a lot of you familiar with the Earth Skills Educational event that's come before the board. This will be their third request. Last year they were approved for their 5-day event, but I think COVID had interrupted the procedure of that event, and they did cancel that. So they're back this year hoping to pick up with the event. It's a 5-day Earth Skills educational event, which would run from February the 2nd through February the 6th, teaching a variety of items, with earth skills, with fire building, blacksmithing, hide tanning, and things like that. I think the first time they came before this board, they brought several samples of things that they do and go over with students who would attend the event. From my conversations with them, the event is not going to be as large, maybe with as many people this year, scaled down, but still doing a lot of the same things on the same property. And this item did go before our Planning and Zoning Board at the October board meeting, and the recommendation was for approval. This board, you have a resolution for approval before you tonight, and at this time I'll enter the file into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Means.
Thank you, Mr. Deeks. I'll take the file as composite exhibit number 1.
I will now open the floor to public comment.
I was here to speak on behalf of the gathering.
If anybody has, if anybody has any questions or anything they would like to add, they're present and answer those questions.
You want to speak, sir? You're welcome to speak.
Have any questions or anything?
Okay. I'll close public comment at this time. Is there any discussion by the board? Do we have a motion to adopt the resolution?
I'll offer a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Stapleton. Second by Commissioner Fleming. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you, Jerry. Vote.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can I just make a comment?
Sure.
I just want to appreciate these guys. I haven't been to the event myself, but I've spoken to someone that has, and their children really enjoyed it. A little bit different. Most kids want to play video games and sit in front of a computer all day, so I appreciate you guys teaching these kids about nature, outdoors, how to live outside of the internet. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I want to add that I appreciate, I know you guys came before us one time before and things happened, but I'm glad to see you stuck with it and seeing it through. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Anybody else? This time I'll close the public hearing on this item. At 5:05 or soon thereafter, the matter can be heard over public hearing to consider adoption of ordinance pertaining to LDR 21-04, an application by Barbara Allwright and Melinda Jones to amend the official zoning atlas of Suwannee County by changing the zoning designation on the following described property from agricultural A1 commercial neighborhood. Mr. Meeks.
Mr. Chairman, board members, the subject property in question is some platted lots in the old plat of the town of O'Brien. The specific property in question is what used to be the old O'Brien post office. It's been set vacant for a little bit of time. Ms. Albright and Ms. Jones had acquired that block of land in the town of O'Brien and has since remodeled some of the old homes that sit along 349. They're in the process of doing that, some other improvements on the property. The post office property was something that they had a specific project in mind on, and it is the current zoning on that property is agricultural 1, and they requested that zoning be changed to neighborhood commercial, which allows for a limited set scale of commercial to provide a convenience need to a limited population or geographic area. And one of the things that they've talked about doing is taking that old post office and renovating it into like a coffee kind of sandwich shop, ice cream shop for the community. They have plans to go in there and remodel that and build that out with kind of a walk up to take to go kind of thing, and then also maybe putting in some sort of a drive through. People could loop through and purchase items and go on with their day. This application did go before the zoning board. The recommendation from the zoning board was for approval. Ms. Melinda Jones, which is one of the property owners, is present. She can answer any questions and expand upon what I've stated. If the board has any questions specifically about the development of the property, if you don't have any questions of me, I'll enter the file in the record at this time.
Thank you. Now take the following is composite exhibit number 1.
Ms. Jones, anything you want to add to what I said?
No, just as long as anyone has any questions.
I just appreciate you doing something. Thanks.
We're excited.
Is there anybody else wishing to speak on this matter? If not, I'll close public comments. Any more discussion on this? Not, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Staton. Second by Commissioner Lynn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. This time I'll close the public hearing on that item.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Meeks.
Moving along to item 20 is an adoption of a resolution claiming November 2021 as National Hospice and Palliative Care Month in Suwannee County. At this time, I will read the resolution into the minutes. Proclamation. Whereas for more than 40 years, Haven has helped provide comfort and dignity to thousands of people in North Florida, allowing them to live in their last months, weeks, or days comfortably with the people they love. Whereas Haven utilizes an interdisciplinary team-oriented approach to treatment, including expert medical care, quality symptom control, and comprehensive pain management as the foundation of care. Whereas beyond providing physical treatment, Haven attends to the patient's emotional, spiritual, and family needs and provides family services like respite care and bereavement counseling. Whereas Haven provides community-based palliative care, which delivers expertise to improve quality of life and relief from pain and can be provided at any time during an illness. Whereas in an increasingly fragmented and broken healthcare system, hospice is one of the few sectors that demonstrates how healthcare can and should work at its best for its patient. Whereas every year, 1.5 million Americans living with life-limiting illness and their families receive care from the nation's hospice program in communities throughout the United States, including Haven. Whereas Haven is an advocate and educator about advanced care planning that helps individuals make decisions about the care they want. Whereas the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services have pledged to put patients first in all of the programs, including hospice, ensuring a coordinated and patient-led approach to care, protecting patient choice and access to individualized services based on a patient's unique care needs and wishes. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Franklin White, Chairman of the Suwannee County Board of County Commissioners, by virtue of the authority vested in me by Suwannee County, Florida, do hereby proclaim November 2021 as National Hospice and Palliative Care Month and encourage citizens to increase their understanding and awareness of care at the end of life, discuss their end-of-life wishes with their families, and observe this month with appropriate activities and programs.
Can you move to approve the resolution?
Yes, sir.
Move to approve the proclamation.
I move to.
We'll get it right.
Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution proclaiming November 2021 as National Hospice and Palliative Care Month in Suwannee County?
I'll offer a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Stapleton, second by Commissioner Fleming. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to see this on there. I just want to make a comment on those folks that do this for a living. That takes a special kind of person to do that. It really does. And I've been there. I think some of the other folks from the board have experienced it with family members, and I just want to start doing that. And I didn't want to get away without saying thank you to those nurses, and even it goes all the way down to janitorial services for those folks that are just in there repeatedly taking care of those folks.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to add the same as Commissioner Hale. It's a special place in my heart for those folks too. Our family members leave here with dignity versus just in a facility where people don't care, and that's an amazing thing. It's truly blessed for them to be part of this community. I will support them till my time comes. So, just like to add that.
And I'd just like to say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'd like to echo the same thing. My father and some family members were there in hospice and make it easier, even though they pass on, but different life. They make it easy for the family members. And they be on time and they're not gone, but it really help a lot, make you to bear your pain, make it a lot easier. So I support them and I congratulate all the way you do.
And I would just like to say, my mother-in-law had to have hospice, and it was a great relief to the family. And I encourage anybody that wants to donate to them, please do it. They do a great service to the community.
Well, that says how many people they touch, Mr. Chairman. Right here on this board, and I don't even know about the two men folks, but I know three. We got two mother-in-laws and a father-in-law.
Yes.
Right here in the three within a short period of time that those folks have been there. And that's awesome.
4,
4.
5.
Got a whole board. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. She wanted to get a picture while y'all don't mind. Absolutely.
You got to stand in the middle.
Thank you, gentlemen, for that. Moving along, item 21, annual committee appointments. If anybody doesn't have a problem with it, I kind of give Manny guidance on this to leave everybody kind of where they're at, except for the ones that I had to be moved around on to be on that committee. Is everybody okay with that?
Perfect.
I'll take one for the team.
Well, I am too.
I'm good.
I'm good.
We just need to consider on that.
Yeah, it was like everyone's.
Yeah, if everybody's in agreement.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Land, if we could get a 5-year commitment out of him.
No, sir. No, sir. If we ever get a rookie up here, I'm tapping out.
Okay,
I got the rookie appointment.
We all do.
Item 22, discuss with possible board actions, bids, proposals for curbside pickup of solid waste. Mr. Harris.
Mr. Chairman, I know you're familiar, some of the other commissioners probably as well. Some of the complaint calls that you received back when we were talking about solid waste came from people that wanted to express their frustration that while we were charging for solid waste, we weren't picking the garbage up at the house. Well, we weren't charging for that either, but there are companies that are interested in offering a price to provide that type of service. While we are working on other things, alternatives for solid waste disposal, we could go ahead and put a bid on the streets, advertise it, see what type of responses we get back for proposals. And for those that do not know, when we advertise for bids, we make it very clear that we are not obligated to enter into a contract or award a bid. But in this particular case, we would have the information, along with other information that will be coming back to the board in a regular meeting for your consideration. Before we do it, though, I want to bring it to the board for authorization.
Anybody have anything to ask?
Do we need that motion?
So we're just gonna bid it to see, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We're just bidding this to see what it would look like if we were to potentially add curbside service.
Right.
I don't know, I'm bidding to see what the numbers would look like, should we choose to go that route. If we did go curbside, that would eliminate, make this clear, that if we went curbside countywide, that would be included in an assessment, that would eliminate the funding that's required to run the collection site, right? I mean, the funding would still be there, but we
The
would have to
funding
run
would go to a different service at that point. It
Right.
would be curbside pickup instead of operating collection sites, so that part is correct.
I understand.
Be interested to see what we do.
We'll have to look at it.
Well, that's what, I think we're trying to gather up as much information here as we can for different things, landfill, curbside pickup, several different landfills. I think we've all been working on it, we're still working on it, and I'm thinking we're probably gonna be working on it for a little while yet to come, so, is everybody okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I think Mr. Hancock.
Oh, Mr. Hancock, name and address, please, sir.
Bo Hancock, 6135 Wicked Road. When you're talking about this, you're going to put this out for proposals. I was an operator and interested in bidding, and was really serious about it. I want to know if my customers are going to have to pay me to pick it up and dispose of it, and still pay the county solid waste assessment fee. One or the other. But I mean, that's something y'all are gonna have to decide.
That's what we're discussing here is seeing what that would cost.
The county would be paying for the service.
Right,
yeah.
Question.
Right.
We collect the assessment and pay for the service.
It would be a contract service between the county and the provider.
Oh, that assessment you got, you won't pay for it.
Well, that's why we want to get this information.
It won't pay for it, I tell you that right now. All you got to do is call Waste Management, and they'll tell you in a heartbeat how much it's going to cost.
Well, I don't want to just hear from them, I want to
No,
hear
you
from
can hear from all of them. You look at this county, what you get charging now for the assessment, won't pay for it.
Well, that's, Mr. Hancock, that's why we're asking all the information.
I just want to make sure.
I appreciate it, thank you.
And with that being said, I hope there's more people in that business than picking up business than what we got a bid on just the last one, Marvin.
So
you got a consensus, I think.
We just need consensus on that.
So, I think you got it. Okay, moving on. At this time, I would like Mr. John Little with Suwannee Valley Electric to come forward, please.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, commissioners.
Welcome.
Welcome for that. I'm the John Little. I live at 9465 129th Road here in town in Live Oak. And
I am the Director of Communications for Suwannee Valley Electric Cooperative. We serve the rural areas of Suwannee County, Fayette County, Hamilton County, and the very north part of Columbia County. About 2/3 of our meters that we serve are here in this county, so it's by far the biggest county and with our most customers. So Suwannee Valley SVEC would like to express our gratitude, first of all, to the county employees who provide important services we benefit from. Like fire and rescue, law enforcement, road maintenance, yes, solid waste disposal, parks and recs, and many other things. Co-op also recognizes a responsibility to pay its share of the county's cost for providing those services. So in that spirit, I would like to present you with our 2021 property tax payment in the amount of $822,725. Thank you.
Thank you, we'll be glad to take it.
Everybody at the county, we think does a great job, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Are there any additional agenda items?
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. This time I'll open the floor up for public comment. Yes, sir. Name and address for the record if you don't.
Keith Flynn. I don't know how much more what I have to say. I'm going to be here, but it'd be 12838 155th Place, Lot 32. Just so you know, I was the one that raised the questions about the hangar. Myself and a lot of people felt like we had been lied to when we were going to. And in a sense we were, because there was no communication that all of this other work was going on. I find it incredibly ironic that the only thing that has a 5-year plan in this county is the least used facility that we have. And I just think that we all need to do a better job, and that includes me. And for those people who know me, I'm cheap, and what I'm about to propose is on a volunteer basis. I think that in the banking business, I was in 6 different areas that experienced the rapid growth that Live Oak's about to experience. People down in South Florida are finding out that all those people moving down from Europe and pay them top dollar for their property, and they can come up here and buy stuff cheap. You're already starting to see it. And we are so ill prepared for that. Not only do we not have the right infrastructure for it, we don't even have safe infrastructure for it. And, you know, we shouldn't beat a dead horse. What's done is done. But let's come up with a plan and an idea of what's going on. And, you know, Commissioner Hale, you're right. People, you know, the third or fourth question they ask you is about the airport. The first 2 questions is, how am I going to afford food this month? How am I going to put gas in my car to get to work? A lot of problems are coming down the road. So what I'm proposing that we do is we create a community garden, no cost to the county. I've got a master gardener who will volunteer. I'll go out and get donations of seeds to the place. You give us a place there, and we'll get it going. The other thing that our county desperately needs is a very high functioning community center, one that can help support veterans and the children. But this is going to take planning. And again, I'll volunteer. You know, I'll help you guys find the funding. That's what I used to do. I'm retired now. I'm probably busier now than I ever was when I was working. Half the time I slept on the job. And if this is something that you would like to go forward with, I'd be happy to work with Commissioner Lamb. And no offense to Commissioner Hale or Commissioner White, I know that you're 2 of the better looking guys, but I just know Commissioner Lamb better. So.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
But if we don't start now, 5 years from now, just next time you go down through Lake City, look at the lack of planning. When there's a design concept, whether it is applying to communities or to a home, it's an Asian philosophy is called feng shui. So it's about creating an environment that reflects your values, your community, and your spirit. You don't see any of that Lake City. It's just, Lake City is what it is. It's a mess. And we're getting ready to go down that same path if we don't start planning now. You know, the planning doesn't cost any money, especially since you've got somebody here working for free. And it might help me stay off eBay so I don't keep buying all this stuff. But that's what I'd like. I'd like you guys to think that over and see if we can come up with something. And on top of that, we need to know, the community needs to know more about what's going on. So I'd like to officially request copies of all the current projects that the county is working on, the things that are pending, and the things that you're talking about. Because perhaps we can provide some feedback so that it takes a little bit of weight off, you know, maybe it's 3 or 4 less calls to your office a day, you know, just trying to get, you know, all of us come together. Because believe me, when you get all these people coming from the big city, you know, they don't act right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Hale, Commissioner Hale, I forgot to ask Jimmy Norris to come up and speak.
Yeah,
After Mr. Little.
I'd just like for him to come up and give us a little update. I kind of put him on the spot again. We kind of going hand in hand with this gentleman was just talking about growth and development.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
This is Mr. Chairman's first meeting. I just want to make sure he had his stopwatch ready.
Mr. Norris does get away from that. He's got that. Throw it at him. So where are we going with this? Well, I don't know how much you can talk about what we have worked on, but talk about some of the other things I know.
No, we are.
Called with Diane and talked to me about, you know, I had to give a comment the other day for a press release and some things. So
Yeah, and obviously, there are some things happening as always, and some of we can divulge and some of we can't. Obviously, the press release the other day was on the award that we received from the county and their participation in the sawmill out of Vanderholt. That was put out through NFEDP and was picked up by some of the local news as well, some of the papers, I think, and some social media. Leading into that, company that Commissioner Hill and I had the privilege of meeting with on Saturday is a project that was sent down through the state of Florida several months back, and COVID has kept those individuals from traveling to the States, and so they were able to get here. And this weekend we were able to meet with them. And somehow they had heard about this award, and so that went a long way with letting them know that the county and how willing they are to work with companies coming in. A very big part of that was to talk about some of these types of things was, you know, one of their big concerns would they be welcome here? They're not North Florida country boy guys, you know, they're a little bit different. Their way of life is a little bit different, but so we assured them that they fit in fine here, and but they were real impressed with our area and where we are, and very impressed with the stance that this group of people had taken in working with Solomon. That meant a lot to them. So of course, Commissioner Staple and I have been working on some things and working real hard on that. Commissioner Lane and I have been working on some things. I told you when Popeyes was open, that was Commissioner Fleming's #1 thing I had to do, and I called him and told him today it was going to open because I didn't want him not to be out there. But of course they're up and running now. And then of course Commissioner White and I have been trying to catch up on some things since these committees are changing now. We're definitely seeing, as you know, folks have said, you know, we're seeing interest. Airport comes up. You were there. You were sitting there. What about the airport? You know, do you have any hangars? What about the runway? Can we get in here? What size jet can we get in? We work with corporate America. And the thing with this particular company is that they had their company 1, but then their partner company 2 and their partner company 3. That's part of a big plan. So, you know, 99 times out of 100, this never works. But we still, if we don't swing, we never hit the ball. So we swing for the fences at all times. But again, I agree, we need the right fit, and we want to represent our community as best we could, and we do need to plan for the future and what we're going to be doing. But
there's been a lot of activity. We're seeing lots of inquiries, and Mr. and I were talking today about how we are able to identify, we have ways to identify who's looking at us with some of the upgrades and technology and things that we've done over at the EDO. Some of you have been in there and seen how we're working on what we're doing over there, and I think it's been a huge upgrade. And I think, as speaking to Saturday, I think they were pretty impressed with what we were able to do.
I was actually impressed with you. How you delivered yourself.
Wow. How are you getting out of
I'm
this?
telling you, I was impressed.
It's big to ask you for a pay raise.
No, I mean, just the facility, what we got going on over there, and I'll mention this, these folks, they, other than, I think what information they've gotten from another company that was here in the state of Florida, they were asking questions about, rivers and springs and things like that. Of course, Jimmy took the opportunity to throw up on his big screen TV the tourism video that we have. And I'm not joking. Those guys were like, sign us up. We want to buy a house here now. They were just all in.
And Commissioner Hill promised that you guys had boats that would take them fishing.
As long as he's buying the gas.
Yes.
They had never been offshore fishing. They started asking about that, and I said, there's enough board members on boats, we could probably get you guys out on.
I don't know if we have to advertise that as a public meeting.
Only if two show up.
That's right.
Well, okay, so.
Well, I didn't say I would take it. I put these two guys.
Okay. But they, and that was a piece of where that came in, just so you guys know, we talk quality of life, right? So everybody's quality of life is different. I mean, for me, it may be on the river. For somebody else, it may be located in a large city where, they can go to the opera tonight, or whatever that is for them. But when we were wrapping up, we did get a feel that they seemed to be interested in that, and so we did go to our tourism side to show them the rivers and the springs and the campgrounds and the things that we have to offer. And it was amazing that they really connected to that piece. Almost it seemed like more than the economic piece. Yeah. They just seemed to fall in love when they saw some of the things that our community has to offer. So quality of life is a big thing for this company. And so I think that we did a good job with that one.
I just want to say I was impressed with the big screen TV and the software. I was even more impressed. He knew how to run it.
That's kind of where I was going with it, but I wasn't going that direct.
Well, Saturday, we didn't have Chris in the office on Saturday, so I got in there 2 hours early to be sure I could get it off of work.
It was real interesting. I learned a lot today, and I appreciate you showing me that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We certainly appreciate it. We enjoy what we do, and we are growing. The opportunity is coming, so we do need to be prepared. So.
Appreciate what you're doing, Mr. Norris.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Norris.
Thank you, Mr. Norris.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I have two, if that's okay, and I'll make it brief.
Just state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Jennifer Brown. Address is 16586 76th Street. I just moved. Live Oak, Florida, 206. One pertains to solid waste. I'll make it really brief. I apologize in advance if y'all thought I was coming after y'all at the call center. But I want to extend another time. If you guys need help with this, because our people are suffering, disabled people, our veterans, our senior citizens are suffering. I will be happy, once again, to sit down with each of you, but I need to know in advance so I can help you save the county money. So please seek me out, and I will be glad to help you. I'm not charging you nothing. I will do a lot of legwork for you, but I need to know what steps or order need things done to help. I have a lot of knowledge that to save our people. Our people are suffering. That's number one. Number two pertains to the intersection of Houston Avenue and US 90. This pertains to semis. As you know, my husband is an owner-operator. We've been in trucking for years. This intersection is super dangerous. When that truck is coming on Houston Avenue, wanting to make a right-hand turn on US 90 going west, we have a lot of cars trying to pass those semis on the right-hand side. There's no turn lane there. Should not be a turn lane. However, even especially at nighttime or in the rain, when the cars are trying to pass that semi on the right-hand side, we're gonna have some people get killed in short order if there's not more law enforcement watching that intersection, because that is a very bad intersection. I just need to bring it to y'all's attention, because I don't want to see anybody die. I don't want to see my husband run over somebody when they hit that blind spot, and he's putting that truck in gear, and 80,000 pounds crushes them inside that car. We need help watching that intersection. There are things I'd be happy to discuss if it would help y'all, that could possibly alleviate some of this problem without being a problem to Precision Auto, because they also own that film. And it would impact them a little bit. But that is a problem, and I don't want to see anybody get killed. It's very dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
While she's making her way over to Mr. Chairman, I know where she's talking about, and there's not a turn lane there. There's actually some lines there that's supposed to prevent cars from shooting over there, but I've seen what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Is that for the city though?
It is more of a city thing, and, or DOT really needs to just take a look at it.
We can,
With us,
Mr.
state
Chairman.
road.
Yes, sir. Good.
we can, make contact with the city and DOT there and send a letter, just requesting them to do a study on that intersection and let them know what's happening. And that's the city to do also. And the city law enforcement can kind of help out too. But, yeah, that's a bad one. And also right here at this red light, you pull up right here, they'll come up beside you. Sorry. How are you doing, man?
How are you?
Good, thank
Name and
you.
address for the record, please.
Ellie Myers, 21177 174th Street, almost up Louisville. I'm speaking for the Florida Wildflower Foundation. We would appreciate it if the Suwannee Board of County Commissioners would review and perhaps put on the next agenda the resolution for enhancing wildflowers on our roadway. Nice way to end. To accomplish this, you would direct the county staff and Public Works to work closely with the Department of Transportation and the adjoining property owners to plan and implement roadside management practices that will increase the visibility and enjoyment of Florida native wildflowers. Now, interesting, out of 66 counties in Florida, 36 have already adopted ecologically sustainable roadside right-of-way vegetation management practices. District 2, which is our district, has the lowest participation of the 6 districts in the entire state. Suwannee County is one of the 18 in District 2 that has not adopted this, and counties like Madison, Taylor, Alachua, Putnam, St. John's, and Duval have. Taylor County, just of interest, they signed their resolution in 2011, Alachua 2012, Madison 2015. This resolution, of course, will abide by the regulatory mandate to continue mowing the 6 feet closest to the road, with the exception of the back slope, which will allow a one-time mow just when it gets really shabby, when all of the wildflowers have seeded, take it down, and then we'll have even more and better wildflowers the next year. By reducing the frequency and extent of roadside mowing, we would realize a revenue savings for the taxpayers. We all just got our tax bill. In other Florida counties, an annual savings of 30% has been realized, and up to $70,000 annually has been appreciated by this program. There is no other out-of-pocket responsibilities. Alachua, they buy flower seeds, and that's an added cost, but there is no need to add any revenue to this. It's a total savings program. So if Live Oak has the potential to save money for its taxpayers, reduce pollution, which is cutting back on the mowing, okay, the lawnmowers, one lawnmower, let me start over. There's no regulation for lawnmowers, and one lawnmower is like 40 cars mowing. And so with the increased beauty of our roadsides, thereby providing free entertainment, I implore you to review the resolution, and if we can get on the agenda for next month, and hopefully you will pass that. And again, once the board reviews, and if you do pass the resolution, then it's taken over by the FDOT, myself as the volunteer for the Florida Wildflower, and I do Public Works, and then the planning that would go into it would be the only outgo for the county there. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comments?
Real quick, John Little, 9465, I think that's right. I do the newsletter for the co-op, and about 4 months ago, I don't know this one, we did a special story on wildflowers in our right-of-ways. And one thing we didn't mention is how important wildflowers are to farmers, because wildflowers maintain the pollinators. The bees and the butterflies, which are very important to growing good crops around here. So that's another benefit that the local area would get from just helping those wildflowers thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Hancock?
Just one quick thing. There's a lot of other taxpayers out here, and I think y'all need to thank all your taxpayers who already paid their taxes. It's that you don't have floated down. Don't worry about it as much. We didn't pay as much as Suwannee Valley did, but we've already paid some of us. So why don't y'all thank everybody?
Thank you, Mr. Hancock.
Thank all of you taxpayers.
Don't forget us.
We don't. Is there any other public comment? That we'll continue on to closing comments, Mr. Pavette.
Nothing this evening.
Mr. Harris?
Just speak on a little bit different subject for just a couple of minutes. We're really starting to get geared up for the holiday season across the country. I don't know how many of you have been on the interstate 11. Traffic is getting terrible, and it gets heavier here as well. I'm just going to encourage everyone to be safe out there. I mean, a lot of us see signs of traffic accidents all over the county just about every day. So I would just encourage people to be as safe as they can right now for the next several months.
Mr. Fleming?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say a job well done to you today. It's a whole lot different when you sit it up there and looking out at the individuals. The first time I ever sat up there during the commission meeting, I said amen. And kind of caught me and I kind of muffled it out, but you did a good job. And look forward. I know everyone in the commission had the capability of handling your job in your situation. A job well done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Stapleton?
Yeah, I got a couple of things, Mr. Chairman. First, I would like to just thank everyone that participated and got to see the Veterans Parade. That was awesome. The Elks Lodge had cooked lunch for them, and I was down there to help with that morning. And then, I'd like to say a job well done to Commissioner Hale. He spoke to the veterans at the cemetery. Very, very good job, very heartfelt. Glad to be a part of that and being able to witness him speaking. Just speaks volumes for this board and how much we all care for our community. In response to Mr. Hancock, I absolutely thank all our taxpayers for them working hard and paying their taxes and trying to make Suwannee County a better place. It takes all of us. It's not just us five up here. It's everybody that works hard and pays. And I'm just grateful for that. And finally, I'd just like to say, great job, Mr. Chairman. Kind of got thrown to the wolves tonight, 3 public hearings, plenty of different things to talk about, pretty stacked agenda, and tell you what, they didn't catch no slack there in the office, did they?
No, sir, they sure did.
But done an awesome job. That's it's a lot to undertake. It's kind of hard to understand until you're sitting here and trying to navigate it, but really good. Proud of you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lane?
Mr. Chairman, good job. I'll echo the previous commissioner's comments. You did a fine job. I don't know who's who's better looking, you or Stapleton, but.
Well, whoever that lady was, yeah, that's right.
Frankly.
So it's a little different looking down there, but nice job. And I too was there at Veterans Park there with Commissioner Hale, did a fine job representing this board. And I was proud of him, and he did a really good speech honoring those that have served and will serve. And of course, we all appreciate our veterans, or none of us would be here doing what we do every day without those guys and their sacrifice and their families. I will remind, I'm going to hand it back to Mr. Stapleton. We had a ribbon cutting today as a Rotarian. It was a very, very nice project. I was there, Mr. Stapleton was there, but I will pass it back to him and let him make that announcement as a Rotarian.
Yeah, I feel terrible for not having that part down. Today was the actual ribbon cutting for the splash pad at the park, at the First Rebel Sports Complex. Awesome. I appreciate this board so much for, and the previous board that was here to help us put together dollars to make that happen. And that thing came together in a year, and it took a lot of effort from a lot of folks. Rotary was a big participant in it, and I ask everyone to please stop by and see it. It's an asset to our parks for our young children. And myself and Commissioner Lamb was sitting there talking, and he's talking about his different age children, and the little ones can go cool off while the other ones is playing ball, and just an added benefit to this. And I thank Greg Scott and his staff, Mr. Furry, for putting together that thing, and then we put the pressure on them, and took something that was a 3 to 5 year plan and made it in a year, and that's unheard of in the government world. So grateful for that.
Great job, Mr. Scott.
If I might, I'll just add, the question came up during the discussion when we were talking about the splash pad, about when Rotary came to step forward and they said they were going to raise $100,000 with them and their partners. They did 140. So they pass off the Rotary Club for stepping up and doing what they always say they were going to do.
Absolutely.
I'm proud to be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, congratulations, did a great job. And that was a big agenda to start with.
I asked for a light one, this is what we do.
Good old to you. I just want to thank the board members for bringing up the veterans' day service, because I did want to make sure I made my board proud, because I made a comment that our board supports our veterans, because I know you guys did improve that. And the community, I want to say thank you to all those that came out to support our veterans, and I think it's something we should do more than just one day out of the year. I would encourage everyone, if you see somebody or know somebody, always point out and tell them thank you. But it was a great day, I enjoyed it, and I want to say thank you to the Legion for asking me to be part of that. So other than that, I don't have nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, I hope I didn't butcher it too bad tonight, but I appreciate y'all's confidence. And I also would like to thank the veterans. I'm sorry I wasn't here for that. Me and my wife actually decided to take a couple of days off and get out of town, and it was much needed, but I do want to thank the veterans. I do appreciate you. And that's all I got tonight. I thank everybody for coming. Appreciate you coming, and we do appreciate you paying your taxes. Thank you. With that, I just need a motion to adjourn.
For a motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stapleton, second by Commissioner Land. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Use that.